I've been trying to tweak the settings on this Pioneer Kuro Plasma TV using the cell phone app that I share with you. And I think I now understand a little bit better what's going on, because when I got this Plasma TV, I was like, man, this doesn't make any sense. How can I have a nice and warm color temperature across the entire screen, and then when I see a white, small, bright white object, it looks cooler? How can you have a warm color temperature and a cool color temperature at the same time? That doesn't make any sense. Is that, plasma technology magic or something? No. The problem is, and I mean, it was not a problem for me. I actually loved that. But the problem is that it is inconsistent. So the calibration, the default calibration, is inconsistent across the entire grayscale. So when I test the color temperature using those full screen pictures that I share with you, 0 to 255, I see that the color temperature is all over the place. It's going up and down, up and down. And that's what happens. So it's a combination between ABL and the brightness of the object and the color temperature depending on the brightness and the grayscale. That inconsistency is what I was appreciating as something better, as a quality. Okay, so I was actually loving that inaccuracy. Okay, so here's the thing. I also noticed that this plasma technology, when you display just a full white screen, regardless of the dirty screen effect, because this Pioneer Kuro does have some dirt screen effect, so that is a uniformity problem. But at the same time, somehow when you display a full color on the screen, it looks more uniform. So I don't know if that makes sense. But when you display a white screen here on the plasma, it looks more white than on my C1, and it is just not close. The whites here on the plasma and the grays look more white and more gray, and it is just, the difference is like very big. Like, it's not something that I can notice because my eyes anyone can just look side by side this Pioneer Kuro Plasma TV displaying a white in comparison with a WRGB OLED. It doesn't matter which one it is. And the difference is very big, very, very big, and it just looks a lot better on this plasma. So I think they call that metameric problems or something like that. I have to study that to see what that is all about. But yeah, there are some qualities on this plasma technology that are very, very, very nice, and I really, really, really love. And what I think I've learned by trying to tweak the settings and calibrate the white balance and changing the colors and all of that is that it doesn't really matter that much. But you don't want to have a skin tones looking very, very bad, like looking green or looking red. So what I do is I compare all the displays I have, and I go, I want to lean towards the display that looks more natural to me, looks better to me. So I know it's not gonna be accurate. I cannot get that. I don't have the instruments to calibrate to get that accuracy. But to be honest, I am not very interested in getting those equipments, because here's the thing. Let's say you have the best calibration equipment in the world to calibrate this plasma TV. You don't have the calibration controls necessary to get a very high level of accuracy. You just don't. So for example, I want to use PC mode on this Pioneer Kuro. On PC mode, you lose all the settings. You don't have almost settings for calibration. So I am not going to use video mode, because the problem is the sharpness. It's just so much better on PC mode. It's just not even close. When you're just using the PC for text reading, the text clarity, it is so much better on PC mode. So I much rather go with that than with a more accurate picture. As I'm still gonna try to get a better result and a more consistent color temperature. There's an app on the PCs called QDOLED that can calibrate the TV better. It has like a 9-point calibration. that you can use for video mode. So I think what I'm gonna try to do is to calibrate in video mode and then save a preset. So you have the option to save a preset that is called ISF day, night, or one of those presets. And then once I save that preset, I was actually able to load that preset on PC mode, if you know what I mean, if you have one of these TVs. So I think that might work, but it might not. I couldn't make it work yesterday, but I'm still gonna try to see if I can improve things in that way. But yeah, I don't think this TV is very good for calibration. Like, it is not very calibratable, if that makes sense. I know there are some, big experts. Like, I mean, I've heard of D-Nice on the AVS forums. I think he's one of the most, reputable TV calibrators. He's probably the best or something. And when it comes to these Pioneer Kuros, you can see some of his comments and things from D-Nice. So I'm sure he got these TVs looking, as good as they can look, for sure. But I don't know if he was able to do that on PC mode, or he didn't even consider PC mode because the black levels are worse. So the black levels on video mode here are slightly better. They are better, but it's just the sharpness, it looks off, in my opinion. So I'm not gonna use it. I'm not even gonna consider it. It doesn't matter what settings I use in video mode, the sharpness on PC mode is better. It just looks perfect. The sharpness difference between video mode and PC mode on this TV is like going from 1080p to 1440p. Is a very, very big difference. It's not even close. And I can notice that in all contents. And the colors also look better to me. They look more saturated, they look nicer to me. It's just not even close. But yeah, what I've learned by trying to use this app and trying to play around with the colors up and down and all of that, is that it matters, but it's not a big deal. Okay, as long as you don't have anything looking wrong, like very, very incorrect, it doesn't really matter, man. I really enjoy changing the colors and trying to get a different picture quality sometimes. We enjoy something that looks different, and that doesn't mean it's necessarily better, objectively better, but I don't really care about the creator's intent, because I disagree with the creator's intent. When it comes to movies, film grain, 24 frames per second, I completely disagree with that. Motion blur, like, doesn't make any sense to me. So I completely disagree with that. I don't care about the creator's intent. In gaming, the games are messed up, most of them. So yeah, if I get a picture that looks fantastic to me, that's all I care about. So yeah, I would like to have a reference monitor. I would like in the future to get some calibration equipment, learn how to calibrate. But using this mobile app, I've learned some of the limitations of calibration. So for example, on this WRGB OLED on my LG C1, when you get close to near black, the screen uniformity is terrible. There is no instrument in the world that can fix that. So you're not gonna get any accuracy near black. I'm sorry, it just looks terrible. The screen uniformity is horrendous. So no instrument can fix that. Again, this plasma TV, we don't have a lot of options for calibration. So what kind of results are you going to expect if you don't have the options to calibrate? The options that the TV has is very, very, very important, in my opinion. I think that's one of the things I like the most about this LG C1. I've been playing around with the settings for over a year, and I'm still discovering new things, and there are many things that I don't know that I might be able to take advantage of. But at the end of the day, it's the same technology, WRGB, plasma. So my next TV has to be a different technology, unless I can get a WRGB OLED that is 480 Hertz with PWM or something like that has just insane motion clarity. I would be interested on that. But my next TV, I want it to be a different technology. Inject printed OLED or self-emissive quantum dot, like something really different, really, really, really different. QD OLED is not out of the conversation, but the problem is they don't have black from insertion, so it needs to be 480 hertz or 360 hertz at least. They don't have black from insertion, unfortunately. I mean, I'm talking about black from insertion or PWM at the maximum refresh rate. So you can get 120 FPS and you improve the motion clarity beyond the refresh rate of the display. That's what I'm talking about. So QDOLED doesn't have that yet, so I'm not interested. Plus, I don't really like the way the screen looks and having raised blacks under lighting conditions. I don't like that. By the way, this Pioneer Kuro has raised blacks under lighting conditions. It is not big, but it does. The blacks, they do get raised under lighting conditions. So yeah, I'm not a big fan of QDOLED for that part. But based on the reviews I've seen, that it does have a much better screen uniformity. That's very important for calibration and for accuracy sake. Screen uniformity is very important, because if you put the colorimeter in the center of the screen and that's all you are measuring, if the screen uniformity is not good, you are not going to get an accurate picture across the screen. You might get an accurate picture there. So screen uniformity is a big deal, and WRGB OLEDs are just not good for that. And I can see that with my cell phone. There is an app, for example, that measures the brightness. It's called Lux Light Meter app. If I have a full white screen, I start measuring the screen, and I am getting a different brightness, and depending on where I am on the screen. It's just all over the place. So the luminosity, the colors, the screen uniformity is just so important. There's no accuracy. I see sometimes calibration reports that, if you look at that, you might think, oh, that TV is absolutely perfect. That might be on the center of the screen. What about the rest of the screen? If the screen uniformity of the technology is not good, that you would need to consider that on the calibration, like do an average. Okay, that's one thing I like about this mobile app. You can actually point at the entire screen. So when I'm using those full screen pictures of the grayscale, I actually zoom out with my phone so I can actually see the entire screen. So I get a color temperature that's an average of the entire screen. Not in some ways that might be superior to using a colorimeter here on the center of the screen. But of course, the colorimeter is gonna give you more accurate results. But yeah, what I've learned, to summarize, what I've learned using this mobile app for calibration is that I want a different technology for my next TV. That's it. I want to get something different, because I understand now the limitations of the WRGB OLED in terms of the color saturation when I compare that with my plasma. How can you have more color saturation sometimes with this plasma TV when this TV is a lot dimmer, okay? And the contrast is not even close to infinite, okay? So how can you have sometimes more color saturation on this plasma, which is like 60 or 70 nits full screen brightness? It's not even close to my LG C1. And I see some qualities here that are better than my LG C1. Again, the OLED is better in almost every single way. It's a much better TV overall. Better motion clarity, better contrast, better colors too. Okay, but yeah, sometimes the plasma has some qualities that, yeah, when talking about that full screen white and looking more white, and you might, yeah, I understand why would someone think that the plasma has better colors. I thought that at the beginning. I was making videos comparing my C1 with this Panasonic Viera and saying the plasma has better colors. I'm sorry, the colors on the plasma are better, and yeah, I still think that sometimes, but I know that objectively it cannot be. It cannot be. It doesn't have a wider color gamut. It doesn't have more color brightness. It cannot be better, but sometimes I believe it is. So yeah, my next TV has to be different. Has to be a different technology. I don't know what they're going to invent. but yeah, it has to be. It has to have better screen uniformity, better calibration out of the box. I mean, the C1 with filmmaker mode have some green looking faces. That's unacceptable on a high-end TV. So yeah, and very important for my next TV, I definitely want to have a lot of options and settings because I enjoy that, and because it's very important. For example, I'm not sure if you watched this gaming tech video with the S95C, what game it was. This late Pinocchio, Lies of P, I think. I don't remember the game. He was saying basically, I don't recommend you to use HDR on this game on a Samsung TV because you cannot fix the black level rays. So that's very important. Very important. And it's very sad to get a fantastic display. You know, like you get an S95C, which is probably the best display in terms of picture quality you can get, the best consumer display in terms of picture quality you can get. And then you cannot play the games on HDR looking like they should look because the games are broken. So then what's the point? You have the best display you can get, but you cannot play most of the games because you cannot fix it with the display settings. That's very, very sad, man. Very, very sad. So I have to definitely consider when I'm getting my next display the options that I have, the settings that I have. So yeah, I'm not a fan of any company, but I know what LG offers. And if LG makes a QD OLED, and I again, I'm not a big fan of QD OLED, but if I were to buy a QD OLED, let's say that they make a 240 Hz QD OLED, 4K 240 Hz QD OLED, 55 inch from LG, I might consider that. Even if it doesn't have black film insertion, it's gonna have a much better HDR, and I know all the settings and the calibration controls that I have with the LG, and I will definitely have control with the black level, and we have these fine-tuned dark areas in the black level setting, and the service menu, all the options we have. They try to block the service menu on the C3 and G3, but with the color control app we can already access that. So LG, there's always a way to change things if they are wrong. That's very important. So yeah, that's what I've learned. That's the summary of the things that I've learned so far, trying to change the colors and trying to calibrate using this mobile app on my phone. And I just wanted to share that with you. I think it definitely helps you to understand the limitations of calibration. And if you have a cheap LCD TV, you're definitely going to see the limitations there. You're gonna see what the TV can and what the TV cannot do, and that's gonna make you understand how worth it is to calibrate your TV or not. Maybe, of course, you're not gonna pay $400 for calibration for a TV that costs less than $1,000. It doesn't make any sense, but you get the idea. I think I've learned a lot using and playing around with that app. Okay, so yeah, let me know your thoughts and opinions. I'm definitely going to share, once if I figured out how to calibrate this Pioneer Kuro better, I'll definitely gonna share the settings and all the details. I'm still working on it. So yeah, let me know your thoughts and opinions, and if you have any questions.